Hi guys, welcome to another analysis video. This is sort of on the back of the Hampstead tournament because in the weekend I played Hampstead under 2200, just the first couple of rounds. It was always planned because I didn't realise there was an event clash, and I was always going to play this BBCA, which is the Bangla Chess Association's rapid play. It's their second big tournament. I heard good things from my friend Luis, who played in the first one last year. So I was quite keen to turn up, and I like going to new events and showing you guys what the venues look like. So I did a couple of videos as I walked in. So as usual, I'm going to start with them. I just realised my microphone was nowhere near my mouth, so hopefully you heard all that. If not, tough. So let me put the videos on. Let me turn the sound down. You know what it's like. Give me 2 seconds.
Morning all. I'm outside the BBCA second international rapid play. It's quite long-winded, but they did this tournament last year. I didn't come, but I heard good things, so let's see what happens. It's either 6 or 7 round rapid play, 15 minutes each per game, flat, no increment, so should be some exciting finishes. I'll try to remember some games. I generally do, so if there's anything interesting, I'll of course pop that in an analysis video at the end of this. Apparently I'm going to get a free curry, so I'm looking forward to that, so I'm going to do a video of that as well, just to show what you receive. This is the venue. Just going to walk in now. I have no idea what to expect, so bear with as I spill my coffee all over everywhere. And open the door with a finger because I've got no hands left, because the other hand is carrying the coffee. Let's see, which way is it? Oh yeah, this looks like chessboards. So this is the venue. Nice and warm in here. As usual, lots of chess people milling around, wasting their energy playing chess before the match. I don't know. When will people learn? Yeah, it looks nice. I sort of regretting now wearing a big thick jumper, so we'll see how that goes later on. And yeah, I'll update at lunch and see what the curry's like. So speak soon. Two rounds gone. I have to be quiet because people are still playing, but I got my curry. It's spicy and tasty. Very spicy and tasty. Look at these people still struggling away. I just won a game in about 20 moves. Whoa, me!
And I want to say again that curry was extremely tasty, and saying tasty is very satisfying because it was tasty. Right. Anyway, so it was a good day. I ended up on 3 out of 7 in the Open, which is good because that's 3 wins as well. No draws. We don't do draws. How can you draw in a 15 flat game each? I mean, there were so many funny moments, and I'll go into some of them in a minute. That's the problem when you don't play with increment, is sudden death basically. So there's always a little bit of arguing and this, that and the other, but again, I will come to that. Now, the story of the analysis games, I've got 2 games to show you, is that both my opponents won 195 and both 2100 FIDE. I mean, it doesn't matter because it was unrated, the tournament, but they're very good players. The first one is against a kid who was actually under 16 Indian champion, apparently. He's a bit older now. He looks like he's like 23, 24. And he said himself he doesn't put in any way near as much work as he did when he was under 16, obviously. But obviously a very dangerous player. So I'm going to show that game first, and then I'll talk about the second game. So let's go straight into the action. He was white. And e4, great. I'll get to roll out the old Sicilian, which is nice. And I'm pretty sure he'll be playing a main line, which he does. But Let me just get to the main move first. So this is the Sicilian Nadorf. Those who've watched me online know all about me playing this opening and how much I love it. All the lines as well. There's not one line in this I don't like, which is a testament to the opening as far as I'm concerned. If you can find an opening like that, never change. I'd take that with a pinch of salt because I am looking at other openings. Just because at some point someone's just going to work out a line that I just play really badly against, and they're just going to keep playing against me, which ironically will make me better at that line. But you shouldn't just give your opponent easy preparation. I'll come on to the London Chess Classic at the end of the video, if I remember, because I do babble on and forget what I'm going to say. Anyway, he plays the English attack, which luckily there's two openings in this because they're very similar. The English attack and bishop e2 lines can both be met by e5, so you only have to learn one move, which is great. So he moves back, his knight's attacked. Sometimes they bring it back to f3, but f3 is not very dangerous. So this is the best move. And in castle queenside, blah, 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 blah. Or does he? So bishop e7. I finally worked out why playing bishop e7, for those who care. Why it's better than just playing bishop e6 first. And the point is, you might want to put your bishop on b7 in a few lines, depending on what white does. And I learned that at the 4NCL when I did a little bit of analysis against the g3 line. So that's why bishop e7 is better, because you need to stay a little bit flexible with your light square bishop. f3. So this is a standard attack. g4, h4. Queen d2, castle queenside, and checkmate black. Easy. So bishop developed. In this particular line, I think it's better here. I like the c4 square a lot in this line of Sicilian. Bishop d3, I'm starting to get a little bit suspicious about what he's doing, because usually you'd imagine him just to leave his bishop there, play queen d2 and castle queenside. So I'm like, what's happening here? That's a bit unusual. Plus, he is indirectly at the moment, his queen's no longer defending d5. So potentially an early d5 could come in, and you want to play d5 if you can in the Sicilian. Not yet though, because I think there's still tricks for him. There'll be a bishop check somewhere, but it's nearly okay. And he castles kingside, which is like, well, when people usually play Sicilian Nadorf as white, they normally, if they're going to castle queenside, the plan is to play f4. And if you're going to do that, why have you played f3? So for me, it's a little bit like he's trolling me. I think he's seen my rating and he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I play, I'm going to get him. And I was like, a little bit insulted, to be honest. Take me seriously, please. I've turned up, I play chess a bit. But anyway, I castle kingside. It's absolutely fine because, like, I've told you before in previous video, I'm not scared of f4, g4 pushes, even if they are eventually crushing me to death. I for some reason, I think when I was a kid, a junior, I was terrified of them, and I think I've just run out of fear. b5, yep. I'm just going to get on with expanding on the queen side. That's where my play is. f4, okay. He has to play f4 because there's no other attack. But he's a tempi down because he's played f3. Developing and defending e5. So I'm defending the c4 square. So the point is the queen can always recapture because you don't really want to take with the pawn. There you have a fair attack against the b pawn. It's just better to take with the queen and then you're attacking e4. Because if e4 falls, then the game's pretty much good for black. I get it. He just wants to crush me. Fair enough. But I'm not scared about it. I'm just not. Yeah, you can. I let him do it. Rook e8. You're thinking why? It's literally just to let the bishop drop back because his plan is to play rook g3 and bishop h6. It's obvious, and bring his queen in. So rook e8 is literally aimed against that, and he's allowed d5 now because, as I said earlier, I'm castled now. There's no threat of bishop takes h7, letting the queen attack the pawn. And d5 is your natural break. My dark square bishop's got a little bit more room, etc, etc. So even if it's on f8, it can still exert some pressure. So there you go. So that's a fair threat from him. I saw it. I defended it. Maybe I saw it a few moves ago. Who knows? Brings his queen in. He's now attacking the pawn, which allows a very nice move for me. b4. Now, I think originally he was thinking he could just, it doesn't matter, I can just take here. But he can't. Because after bishop takes, pawn takes. Another reason the rook's here is I fork. Game over. I don't care if you're 195. You're not coming back from that. So he can't take that pawn, and for that reason he has to put his knight in a worse square, which means I'm basically better. Which I follow up fairly well. I want to get rid of his light square bishop, and I have noted, even at this stage, that my bishop is attacking this knight. So, take the pawn he has to take because it's attacking his queen as well. And I bring my other knight in with tempi. Oops, sorry, jumped a bit there. He's threatening just to take this. It's on pre now because of the pin. Just move my king. Now his bishop's on pre as well. I can't take it because I get mated. Because if I take, takes, check, I have to block with a bishop and in checkmate. So it's not a threat yet. This isn't under attack just yet. Brings his queen in. Lots of pressure here. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not, you know, I've had these raging attacks against me before and I've done okay. Queen takes. Now I can take the bishop. Funny enough, I think he thought he was just crushing me here after this move, but da-da! Now I say da-da because I'm now covering g8, which was the last mating square. I'm already controlling g7 with two pieces, the bishop and the queen. So that was the last square to watch out for. So happy days. I've come through the opening. I'm feeling good. I've got the bishop pair on an open board. I don't care if you're 195 and under 16 Indian champion. I'm going to kick your ass. I get so cocky when I play chess. It's hilarious. C3, fair enough. If I take, he takes with his knight. His knight's in a better square. I'm not going to allow that. I'll just let him take me. It's fine. And I have seen the pin that's coming. Just so you know. And here's the pin. He's got two pieces attacking my bishop. Obviously I'm pinned, but I'd seen that I could always take the knight. I'm attacking his queen. So still happy. Queen takes. Attack the pawn. Defends the pawn. Perhaps a mate coming at some point if my queen goes stupid. Just want to keep him honest on this square here. He's got, you know, back rank issues. I can checkmate him if he's not careful. I may at some point want to bring my bishop back round. Not necessarily to this square, but just so I can cover the h6 pawn. Because I'd always be a bit worried about h5 there. And all I'm thinking is if I can get rid of this knight as well, I'm controlling that knight a little bit. He can go here at the moment, but he can't go here, can't go there. So potential. I mean, like, and this would be pinned afterwards as well. It's quite fun if he ever does move his knight in here. Perhaps he'd have difficulty defending it. Anyway, gives himself some love. Very sensible. Now I want to say at this point, remember there's no increment in our 15-minute game each, and you know I've got to say I'm feeling pretty good, and I know my position is good here. I've got a passed pawn, protected passed pawn, bishop against a bad knight at the moment. I've got the checkmate covered. I'm feeling good. I'm not like, you know, I've messed up many games, so it's not like I think I've won, but I know I've given this guy, who obviously used to be very good, a real run for his money. And in fact, I'm up on time here as well. I think he had 3 minutes left at this point, and I had maybe 7. And then someone's phone went off in the venue, and it's, you know, it's not rated, but we're still following FIDE rules. And you know, I have a look to my left, and I see it's you know, a young kid. He must be about 20 or something like that. I say kid, I mean, it's a strong term, but I'm in my 30s, so I can say that. And he gets his phone out and he turns his phone off, and the arbiter comes over and says, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but you've defaulted the game." And he goes, "What do you mean? I've just turned my phone off." And obviously we all know that, you know, if your phone rings, and all the arbiters generally say before the match, I'm not sure they did this time, but it doesn't matter. They did say turn all phones off, so, you know, you don't need to explain the rule if you've told people to turn their phones off. And they got defaulted, and you know, I didn't think that'd be much more to it. And he goes, "No, no, no, no," and he started getting really irate. And you know, this is quite distracting when I'm trying to play a game of chess. And he's literally like one table away from me, to my left. So I'm still looking around. My clock's ticking. My emotions are a little bit all over the place, 'cause I don't really like conflict in situations where there shouldn't be conflict. Like if I watch boxing, great, or MMA, great. Wrestling, no, because it's just a soap opera, and you can cane me for that later. I don't care. Um, but yeah, I don't like it when there's situations like in the street and people are shouting at each other. It's completely not right. It makes you feel really uncomfortable. Not just me, because I talked to other people later on and they felt the same. They eventually got the kid outside, and you can still hear it carrying on outside. And we heard some slaps, and we actually thought there might actually be a fight going on, which is very unnerving. We find out later that apparently he was hitting himself, which is a good thing. I'm glad he wasn't attacking people. And over something like this, on an unrated blitz, well, not blitz, but very fast rapid game, just let it go. It's only the first round. You can get your points back. Were you really going to win your section? The guy who did win the section, it was the major section this happened. He won 7 out of 7, so he was obviously on fire, the guy who won it. I don't know what his name was, but he seemed like a nice chap. I said hello to him at the end of the tournament. So this is all going on, and as I say, my clock's ticked down a good 2-3 minutes here, so I'm catching up. And I come back to the board, trying to focus and everything. But that was just one. It was entertaining, but unnerving at the same time. So while that was carrying on, I played an okay move when I started concentrating again. Got to get my pawn moving down the board. It's a passed pawn after all, and I am controlling e1 with my bishop. Very sensible plan. He goes after my h6 pawn, and here I've got to say this move isn't losing. This move is still an okay move. Like I said earlier, I want to make his knight better, worse. In fact, what square does it go to? Computer's saying +3 here, so obviously it doesn't have a lot of squares. It's actually saying knight a1, but it doesn't really matter because of what happened next. He took the pawn, and without thinking, I took the knight. I just took it. I just yeah, I've won. Thank you very much. And it's mating 2. You can work it out yourself. So that was a bit of a disaster, and I don't want to. I'm not blaming the kid for massively overreacting, but that wasn't good for me. I've got to say, it didn't put me in a good place, and I had a lovely position there and a good game in general. After I feel like my opponent trolled me after f3. But I lost, so I resigned at this point because I realised as soon as I took the knight what was going to happen. He was reaching for his. It begins with Q, just to give you a hint. I think you can see it. Anyway, so that was a bit of a debacle, really. It was a bit of a shame because I'd love to have won my first game because potentially he played an IM the next round, so that would have been good for me. There were 3 GMs there: Bogdan Lalic, Neil McDonald, and my friend Tamas Fedor. Tamas is a great guy. I'll come on to him later on. Not literally come on to him. No, that sounded completely wrong. But I'll talk about him later. That's what I meant to say. So I was very disappointed. But never mind. The rest of the day went well. There were some funny moments. I'll go into a couple of those now. Because remember I was saying there's no increment. So I lost a game in I think it was about round 4. And I was a bit unlucky. It was an Adolf again, and my opponent did an unsound sacrifice, but I messed it up. That's what happens. This is why it's worth doing speculative sacrifices in fast time controls, because one person has to work it out, and that was me. And unfortunately, I slipped, and he mated me, which was great. It was a good attack. It was unsound. I went well for about 4 moves, and the 5th move, I messed it up. Anyway, and then I see the guy in round 5, because I won my round 5 game. And I saw him in round 5 playing against another very decent player. He was good. He's 175 or something ECF, and I saw him playing, and he was down on time. He had 10 seconds left. He's got no chance basically, and he's winning a king and pawn ending, but he's only got 10 seconds, and the pawns are really far back. So he's blitzing out his moves as fast as he can, and he eventually gets his pawn to the 7th rank, and he promotes his pawn, but doesn't promote. He pushes his pawn to the 8th rank, says queen. Hits his clock. Now, that's an illegal move. So, he loses for that because you have to take the pawn off the board, put the queen down, then press your clock. And that's an illegal move. That's a legal move. He didn't do that. So he lost for that reason. He also lost on time. So he could take his pick of the way he lost. And I thought a little bit of karma because he was a bit lucky in my game. But long story short, it's the first time I've seen someone lose twice in a game of chess at the same time. It was quite amazing. losing 2 ways. I mean, luckily he doesn't get like a -2 for it. So that was a funny incident. Anyway, I'll go into the second game now, and then I'll tell you one more little story. So let me find the last game. This was also against a 195. As I say, it's a story of 195s. I mean, during the day, so I beat a couple of 170s, so I was fairly happy. And so beating 2 170s and a 195 means a good tournament for me. I mean, obviously, I said it was a story of 2 halves, so you know I'm going to win this game. And I've actually beaten this guy before in a slower time control. I'm not going to mention names. There's no need. But let's just say this guy's a very attacking player. Everyone knows him on the circuit, and they all say what a dangerous attacking player he is. And against me in the first game that I beat him was in the nade off again, of course. And he sacked his knight on d5, and I managed to stave off his attack and beat him in an ending, which was quite something for me then, because it's the first time I've ever beaten a 190. So I got him again, and this is how the game went. I'm white this time, and Roy Lopez. And I know he's going to play something like the martial attack before, as soon as he's played knight c6, a6. I know the martial attack's coming, but that's okay. I like the martial attack now. I never used to. Castle, defends the pawn, c6. This is he could play d6 here, and it's just a very long strategic game, which would have been fine. I like the positions a lot as white, but d5 martial. And the main line is you take the pawn and you... Sorry, I should actually explain that. You take the pawn and you take this pawn. And you're a pawn up, but black gets a really big counter-attack. And I've got a couple of lines that are okay against it. And I do okay. I tend to draw rather than win. I have won one martial attack, but that was a long time ago. And I'm scarred from the losses, because the losses are fun for black. So I every now and then potter out a sideline. And this is my sideline. I play this sideline a lot online, because online I think it's more shocking, because you don't have very long. I only play 10 minutes flat increment online, so it's a bit more of a shock for black. And most of the lines in this are equal. But when you're playing someone who's a really big attacker, and you know they're a big attacker, don't give them a position where they can attack you. And d4 leads to quieter lines, which is what happens. So he plays the best move. I don't know if he's seen it before, but he plays it like he has. Attacking the knight. So he takes the pawn. I take the pawn and attacking the knight again. Forcing the exchange. Well, not forcing the exchange, but I think it's best. And I'll take with queen. And now he's got a few ways how to defend this knight. And because he's a martial player, I think and this is definitely not a bad move, that's how you defend the knight in the martial. So, not shocked by that, but very happy to see it, because my rook is attacking his dark square bishop, so I know I'm going to give him an isolated pawn here, and I'm happily taking that, because I also know that my knight's not going to take any time at all to sit on d4. And once it sits on d4, sorry, I'm trying to draw more arrows. When it sits on d4, it can't be kicked. Basically, it's just a very strong piece, so it's worth a bishop. So that was my plan already. I just need to get my pieces out. Defends the pawn. Here comes the knight. Trying to play bishop c5 here, so we just stop that. The knight wants to go into d4, but there's no point giving him a move that he wants. This also I was ready for. Just swap off the dark square bishops. Remember I was saying the knight's going to d5. He has to swap here as well, which just helps my queen get out of the way. Vacating the square for the b3 knight to get to d4. Rook comes over. Okay, there's no dangerous discovery on the bishop. The most dangerous probably is bishop, because if he moves the bishop, I just take the rook and the queen and a rook, and then I just again I play against his isolated pawn. So I just bring the knight in. As I say, there's no bishop g4. Something silly like, you can still blunder here. You know, even in simple positions you can blunder. If I play something like rook here, then it's a blunder, because then he can just play here to g4. So the knight comes in. I'm very happy. He's got an isolated pawn. It's a bad bishop in my eyes. I'm not a pawn up, but I know my position's better. He's just vacating, so now that if I do queen takes rook, he can take back the rook and not the queen. So I move my queen out the way now. I just want to rework it around so I can double up rooks on the e file, and he can't do that unless I get back to d2. Sort of pseudo pinning the knight. Maybe he's going to bring his rook over and play b4. This would be something. He wants to attack these 3 pawns. I'll bring my queen back as previously discussed. Yep, he's still aiming for b4 here. He's trying to undermine the pawn, and then he'll have 2 pieces on the knight. But I ignore him because my plan's stronger, I think. Bishop can't move now because I'll just take the pawn on d5. So that keeps the bishop where it is. Okay, fair enough. I've seen this, and I'm just going to take back and keep the c pawn. Point is, I dominate the e file. And here it actually ends quite quickly. It's actually in a very simplified position. The only things I'm ever worried about here is my back rank. That like somehow I'm going to get caught and mated on the back. But my moves pretty much play themselves. Obviously, I want to win a pawn, so I'm a pawn up here, and rook takes is very natural and good, but so is queen takes. Gives me a couple more options. Whoops, jumped ahead. This rook's pinned. If the queen comes over to defend it, which it does, this rook's potentially going to drop. I mean, this rook's going to drop anyway because it's pinned against the king, and I can do rook takes rook. The only issue is this back rank. Well, I solved that problem in a minute. So I obviously said I'd win this game, but I just want to show a win for a change. Defends the rook. Rook takes. Now the threat is checkmate. Because the queen's pinned. So he has to defend the checkmate. Which gives me time to finally create some luff. He creates more luff too. But now I'm defending the queen. It's game over. Because I don't know. I guess he's just desperate here, but he's hoping for check and he's actually winning. But that's never happening, is it? Because after rook takes, he plays the check anyway, and obviously it dawned on him that unfortunately the queen's pinned the queen, and he resigned because he's 3 pawns down, and I've still got an attack. Funny enough, so 2 games of 195-ish. One I should have won, didn't. And one I should have won, and I did. So happy days. Now, all I want to mention now is it was a lovely event. I had a really nice time. I talked to some really nice people. I made friends with a guy called John Busman. So hi, John, if you're watching this. I talked some more to Jonathan Payne. He's a really good guy. I talked to him at the Simon Williams' Crypt Blitz. That was a really fun event. He's a really nice guy. He did brilliantly. I think he definitely beat one. Yeah, he beat Bogdan Lalic, which was a really nice game where he proved that 2 rooks are better than a queen. And he also beat a FIDE master in a little bit of a comical fashion, but he was winning anyway. But it was another one of those pawn promoted, said queen and hit his clock. And he should know that. He's a FIDE master, so he complained a little bit and the arbiter had to come over. But there was witnesses. And chess can be quite tense, But yeah, thanks to the organisers, it was really nice. The curry was a nice little treat. It was well run. They had a few teething problems, but they fought their way through. It was good. And congratulations to Tamas, because he won it. 7 out of 7. He's just a demon at quick time controls. I've seen him play well over and over and over. He's just a very good grandmaster, which is a bit obvious, but not those bad grandmasters. That's another story for another day. But yes, really good day. Hung out with my friend Vincent as well, who's a really nice chap. Decent player. He got 4 out of 7. He had a few scalps. But I'm happy with my scalps too. 2 170s and a 195, and could have been 2 195s. I lost a couple of games. I actually lost to John Busman in a game where we both overlooked a few things, but I'm sure we'll have a few more matches over our time, because we're going to be in the same sections and roughly at the same rating, so I'm sure we'll bang into each other a few times. But it was all in all really good day. So that's the end of the video. Next, I've got I'm going to Battersea Chess Club on Wednesday. I'm hoping to meet John Bartholomew. If I do, I'd love to do a little video with him. If I get to play him, I'd love to record it. It's going to be Blitz, so I could record the whole game, hopefully. I need a bit of luck for that. Either they pay it me first round, or I have a tournament of my life to get to play him. And then it's the London Chess Classic, which I'm fully entered for. I don't know if you can see this fully, but that's my receipt. I'm officially playing in the FIDE Open, so if you haven't said hello to me previously, please do. And I've got a few friends there. I'm looking forward to meeting them, and maybe I can get them on video too. Some of them are fairly famous. If I can get Jovanka on camera, I will. Who's a very, very good IM. But anyway, that's another story, and hopefully I'll tell you about that in the future. So thanks a lot, guys.